Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this? Dun 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No. Nope.
Y'all, just stop.
Welcome to DBL. It is Thursday, September 23rd. I'm Tori. Hello, everyone. I'm here with Jeff and Al, my brothers I never asked for, but that I clearly really want. We're glad and grateful for all of you to be here with us. Well, everyone wants to know, where is Gabby Petito's fiance, Brian Laundrie, and what do his parents know about his whereabouts? Well, they were spotted earlier today, leaving their home in a red pickup truck. They were on their way to pick up this car, a Mustang that police hauled away earlier this week. So far, they've remained silent about their son's whereabouts. Meantime, check out what their neighbors told Fox News about their activities on the day Gabby was reported missing. This is on September 11th.
I noticed that they got a new camper for the back of the pickup. I saw them loading it up, and so I assumed they were preparing for, a camping trip. The parents going on a trip, I can see that, but taking their 23-year-old son in a small camper that's on the back of the truck struck us as odd.
Well, there are all sorts of theories about when and where Brian took off and when, and one of those theories is from John Walsh. Here's what he had to say. Take a look on CNN.
This family did not help at all. And it's this girl lived with them. This lawyer, this wonderful lawyer, called the cops on Friday and said, "We're doing the right thing. We're going to tell you that Brian went to that reserve." You know what it was? It was a red herring. They bought Brian 4 more days to get away. They bought him 4 more days to run. It's disgusting. Some point, this family, this mother and father, have to realize that somebody's beautiful daughter was murdered by their horrible sociopathic son.
So again, all of that is alleged from John Walsh. But what do you guys think? In my head, 100% they let him get away in some respects. And 100% they should be charged with obstruction of justice. Again, this is my speculation. How fishy does something have to smell before we're like, yo, Jeff?
Let me address that first. Being a parent.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wouldn't do the same thing.
Fair.
Right? And my kids are 4 and 3, right? So being a parent is kind of, it's not right what they did. They probably should have turned them in if that's what's going on. But being a parent, I don't know if you're ever going to give up your kids.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if you, and I'm speaking,
or give up on them.
I'm speaking for you, to you. I think Jeff, of all people, I think you would tell your son he'd have to face it. Because
I don't know what I would do, man.
who knows?
I'm telling you, I don't know what I would do in that situation. So I see what the parents are doing, even though it sounds completely absurd.
Right.
Let me just address that.
Right.
Second of all, I don't think everyone's speculation, including mine, matters. I think the police are handling, or the FBI, whoever's handling this, is handling it very close to the vest. They don't want to screw this up. He already has nothing. He said nothing, has done nothing. They haven't even questioned him, which is a great defense.
Right.
Right? He has nothing to incriminate him other than him running, which can't be used against him, right? Being silent can't be used against you in a court of law. I think the police are handling this very close to the vest. I think they're close to catching him. I think in the next week or 2, he will turn up. I think they'll get him.
And you think he'll be alive?
That's another good question. And again, I don't want to speculate too much because you could go down that rabbit hole.
I know.
Right?
But that's all we can do is speculate at this point. And
what do you
honestly,
think, Al?
I think it takes a lot more than people think to take your own life. And somebody that is this much of a narcissist to at least try and run lets me know that, because there's a difference between, I don't want to bring up anything morbid, but these happen, school shooters that do what they do and then take their own life, or school shooters who do that and then try and run and then are apprehended. There's a different mentality there. And so when we're talking about somebody like this young man, it's not about whether his parents did the right thing or what would you do as a parent. It's how are they allowed to do this?
Right.
Are we saying that there is less circumstantial evidence, like Joey Jackson talked about yesterday, than there would to be like, hey, I think they sell drugs in that corner store? I think that the cops kick in doors for much less than this. Does he have to be standing there with blood dripping off his hand for the cops to be like, now we got him?
Like how fishy was that saying?
I really don't understand the law. So.
And I think we'll look into this investigation. I do want to give you guys an update. They did find out that he had a full-blown incident at a restaurant in Jackson Hole, like right before Gabby went missing, and he started screaming at the staff, only women, the waitress, the hostess, something about billing and money. He left, he came back. He left 4 times, he came back. Gabby Petito had to come in and apologize for his behavior. And that was the day right before she went missing. So there's something there with anger and something with women that I think that needs to be looked at. which is really interesting. Keep us posted on your
He
speculation.
also allegedly killed someone.
He did, for sure. But this is known.
That
This is known.
He also yelled at a waitress, but he also possibly murdered someone.
But you can see someone's point of view of mind of how angry they were. Yeah. Switching gears, Johnny Depp is speaking out against cancel culture, Jeff's favorite. Johnny recently picked up an honorary award for achievement in film at a film festival in Spain. Afterwards, he told reporters that cancel culture has gotten way out of hand. Take a look at this.
So far out of hand now that I can promise you that no one is safe. Not one of you. Not one of you. Not anyone out that door. Takes one sentence and then there's no more ground.
As we've mentioned, Johnny was dropped from the Fantastic Beasts franchise after he lost a libel case against a UK newspaper that called him, quote, a wife beater. And he's suing his ex, Amber Heard, for $50 million over an op-ed she wrote about domestic violence. This has gotten so messy, Amber and Johnny. I don't know who to believe, what to believe. I really don't want to touch it with like a 10-foot pole.
Yeah, it's gotten so bad that like everyone right away instinctually just assumed Johnny Depp did this, right?
Right, but then there was Amber Heard
issues. It's been dragged on for so long that we're like, now we don't know who did it because all the evidence is kind of coming out.
Right.
By the way, I want to live whatever planet Johnny Depp is living on.
He's dressed like a painter from the early 1500s.
He surprisingly has an accent for some reason.
He's like, it could happen to anyone.
I am a big fan of Johnny Depp, and I am a big fan of what he's saying. He's absolutely correct, right? As much as he looks the way he does, which I think is awesome.
I think it looks cool.
Yeah, I think it's amazing. I mean, if I look like you would check me into a facility. But
for sure.
To walk around like that and people think
you're like
cool.
Vincent Van Gogh. I'm like, Jeff, get some help.
Yeah, I would have to check it. But he's absolutely right. You're one sentence away from completely being erased. And I don't think people know the consequences of that, right? People might be hurling whatever they want on the internet towards you, but they don't know when it comes for them or comes for somebody that they love or somebody that they adore, right? Then they're like, whoa, 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 this is getting way out of hand. So it's going to come full circle at some point. We're just waiting on it because celebrities are starting to speak out. A lot of people of power are starting to speak out, and it's getting way out of hand. We're letting crazies that I just said I should be put in an institution. I'm sorry to drag on here, but I always think about this. If you go to a park, right, and there's 10 people there, and there's a lovely people having picnics and one playing ball with their kids.
I'm playing frisbee.
Right, and they're having a great time. And there's one person with one shoe on chasing a bird that isn't there with no shirt on, spinning around in a circle. That's the comments on social media. We're focused on that person with no shoe and no shirt on spinning around at the park, while the other 9 people, and those are the percentages, 10% of people make up 90% of the internet. We're focused on that. Big corporations, Jeopardy, everyone on Jeopardy, all their EPs should be fired. They based the decision based on that one person in the park that's crazy instead of looking at the 9 other people.
Shoeless man.
Yeah, Shoeless Joe.
Shoeless Joe Birdman. Shoeless Joe Birdman.
But you see what I'm saying? We're focusing on the minority instead of the majority.
But what about someone who's afraid of that he did hurt someone? There's video of him drinking and smashing a bottle and using that language.
Take Johnny Depp out of people drinking.
Yeah, take Johnny Depp out of this. I'm just saying cancel culture in general.
Because when you start talking about the internet mob, we start talking about people that don't even know what they're talking about. Do you remember
they have one shoe on?
When Rachel Roy got in trouble because she cheated with Jay-Z, and the Bayhive went after Rachel Ray, the cooker, because people they don't care. They're just throwing things at people. And the thing is, Jeff and I are of a certain age. We're a little bit older than you. We're like, when you say something about somebody's character, when you accuse somebody of sexual assault, you're not accusing me. That's my family's last name you're dragging out there. It's a real personal thing to me. And the things that fly around on the internet, the accusations about rape and murder, and like just off of like I heard and I think I'm filing this hashtag, but George Floyd's name is spelled wrong in this hashtag. That's how little people are paying attention. It's just really scary. And we're starting to see people get canceled. We saw it happen to Aziz. Right now, there's a case in the NFL, Deshaun Watson. He's accused of a lot. He's been accused of like 22 things, weird incidents with masseuses, nothing physical, but exposure. And he's out of the league. He does not play. He's getting paid, but he's not in the league.
And I hear you.
So like what, I don't understand Who is the judge and jury here?
I get that. Both of you I hear. But there also has to be, and again, you're going to make fun of me, some accountability.
Absolutely.
Many of these people needed to be canceled because they did something horrific. So I don't want to forget that part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Totally.
So both can be true at the same
but when
time.
does the stench go away?
We are going to talk in the break.
You put a label on somebody, homophobia, racism.
When can they come back?
You put that on somebody, it never goes away.
Interesting.
Absolutely.
Let us know what you guys think. Great talk, you guys. We'll be right back.
Passionate in the morning.
Very passionate.
Closed captioning provided by
Laundry.
Brian Laundrie.
Okay, so yeah, I know that.
Oh.
That's what, it's so weird. So the whole world has gone mad over this case. And
Yeah.
I'd say mad in the English term, like a good crazy, I guess.
A
you'd say.
frenzy.
They're involved, right? They're
Frenzy,
involved with
They're
this,
definitely
with this
involved.
laundry case. And everybody's talking. I mean, the people, my friends are talking about it that I
Everybody.
don't talk to. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. I'd rather talk about cancel culture. We're just speculating at this
Well, you know
point.
what the weirdest part is? At that restaurant that I was talking about, there was another YouTuber and another influencer. And what's weird is how many influencers with documentation they passed on their way to Jackson Hole. Someone even picked them up that was an influencer, picked Brian Laundrie up hitchhiking, and took him around and around and around.
Influencers are there?
There's many, and they were all going on these like summer vacations to photograph or videotape their Western Jackson Hole, Wyoming-ness.
I know,
and
I'm
so
old,
many
but
people
can I just
picked
tell
up the
people
van.
that follow like influencers, no disrespect, but you can just go to these places. See, I'm old enough to remember when you just did stuff yourself rather than looking at the TV.
But how would you know where to go?
I don't know. Find a map, talk to a friend. I don't know. Hey, enjoy YouTube.
Aren't you you're kind of an influencer?
Yeah, but social media, the trolls have driven me away from social media. It influences my life now in some sort of way, and I don't want them being impactful. So I don't want them impacting me, even if it's one comment out of 100, like that one guy in the park. Networks are looking at that. I'm looking at that, and it's affecting my mental health, right? Why is that person saying that to me? Why am I wasting any time on them? Right? Because they're insane, right? And they have nothing to do.
It does affect your mental health.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely.
It affects
But
mine
they're
too.
driving major corporations. They're driving the entertainment industry. They're driving how people get hired. You're hired now based in Hollywood on how many followers you
But
have.
isn't that true that you're hired for movies based on how many people like you, how many eyeballs people? If people didn't love Johnny Depp, he
Yeah, but
wouldn't get hired.
shouldn't it be the most talented person?
I think it's the most popular person, don't you think, in Hollywood?
But then Kim Kardashian should be a leading woman in the next Gone with the
Then
Wind.
no one.
All right. Welcome back to DBL. There's been a ton of speculation. Will Matthew McConaughey, that's where that came in, run for governor of
We got
Texas?
it.
Okay.
When you have to explain it,
Okay,
it never
it's worse.
works.
Okay.
Never works.
He's leading in recent. He's leading. I didn't know that in recent polls over other potential candidates like Beto O'Rourke and current Governor Greg Abbott. Well, Matthew is speaking out about it, and here's what he recently said about it on a podcast. Take a look.
I'm measuring it. Look, it's going to be in some capacity. I'm more of a folk singing philosopher, poet, statesman than I am a per se definitive politician.
Right.
So I go, well, that's the reason not to. But then I go, oh, no, that's exactly why you should.
Yeah.
Because politics needs redefinition. But I'm measuring, what is my category? What's my embassy? Because I have to remain a storyteller. I've been given that gift. I love doing it. I have to remain an artist.
Al?
This is going to be surprising. I want him to do it.
Me too.
And I'll tell you why.
Me too.
There's a selfish part of me because I do like, obviously, a friend of the show.
Friend of the show, everyone. He was on the show. Friend of the show,
Also,
everyone.
I like him as an actor, and I know as soon as he makes any kind of statement on abortion, on BLM, on anything, half the people in the country are going to hate him. But he does represent something that I think we as a country desperately always say that we want, but we never really get, is a politician that can't be bought and paid for. He already has money. Every other politician is paid for, like I paid for these shoes. Wouldn't you say, and it doesn't come in like a briefcase in some weird hotel room.
Sometimes it does.
Yeah, it comes in hey, Jeff, why don't you come speak to the Republican auto workers? We'll give you $78,000 for 30 minutes. Is that really that great of a speech? It's a bribe. All of these people are being bribed in the form of speeches and whatever, send a tweet out. It's a bribe. Matthew McConaughey cannot be bribed, so we'll at least know we're getting somebody's honest opinion.
Man, you guys both, I thought I was going to be the odd man out for sure, saying I agree with this, because I'm always saying keep this separate.
Yeah, entertainment.
If you were his friend, would you tell him to do it?
I would. And I'm kind of influenced because I'm such a fan of Matthew McConaughey, right? And I just want him to do it. I just think our political parties, the Democrats and Republicans, are so divisive right now. You're on a team. You're on this team, or you're with us, or you're against us.
Sure.
I think Matthew McConaughey, I don't know what he would run as, but I think there needs to be a third party. I think we need to break this up. It's too crazy. One side runs the media, right? The other side, if you agree with anything they say on the other side, you're a racist. So it's like, wait, there is no general thought. I think Matthew McConaughey will bring general thinking to the political office, right? This is what needs to be done, not Democrat, not Republican, just being a good human.
Just
what
a
about
good human. And I think we need a good Southern poet, philosopher, statesman. I think that would be fantastic for Texas.
I'm not
I think
trying to be funny.
fantastic
Do you think
for
the
America.
people that, like the people that are a couple notches down from the January 6th rioters, do you think that they have been so riled up by the rhetoric they've heard the last 4 years that they're ready for a poet? Or do you think they need fire?
At some point, there's so much fire that they took over the Capitol, we got to douse the flames. And there's nothing Matthew does that better than chill.
Should we douse
us
them
out.
or douse them?
Douse them? I was going to make fun of you too.
No,
Al
don't try and change it.
first.
She tried to change it.
I tried to change it. Coming up on DBL, a brand new TLC show is taking a look at how the most unusual skin conditions are treated. We're talking to the doctor herself, Dr. Mercy. Stay tuned.
Medical researchers put cotton mask material through rigorous testing. No surprise, but some of the cotton fibers started falling apart over time. Scientists say that made it slightly harder to breathe out of. But here's the important part. Researchers say the cloth face masks were still just as effective at filtering out airborne particles. Experts also say washing cloth masks is super important. The agency says just toss it in with the regular laundry when it gets dirty. And that's connecting the dots.
Welcome back to DBL. When their skin betrays them, they'll need some mercy, and that's who they call Dr. Mercy. Earlier, we chatted with a dermatologist about her new TLC show in today's DBL Spotlight.
The skin is a manifestation of what's going on internally. So a lot of what we do in dermatology is not just the skin that you're treating a person as a whole. I actually come with the philosophy that we're all brothers and sisters. If you come into a room to see me, you're automatically a family member.
Please welcome Dr. Mercy Odiembo to DBL. Hello, Doc.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Absolutely. We do want to, Dr. Mercy, most people wouldn't consider dermatology to be what you call like an emotional field, but that clip really showed you how raw it can make you feel because it's what people see. So why do you believe your services move people so much?
I really think that, just like you said, when you first meet a person, the first thing you see is their physical appearance and just what they look like. It's weird, like most people would rather fix something that they're struggling with physically before they even go into their doctor for like their blood pressure, their blood sugars, because that's the first thing that you see. That's what you're judged on. That's what people talk about.
We can see some of your patients and some of the examples that things that could really
makes someone feel like they can't be a part of society. So what is the craziest condition you've seen, and how do you know how to treat it?
No matter how big your clothing is, people still look at you. When you have all this like lumps and bumps or birthmark stains on your face, people stare. They think something is wrong. People act like you have a disease that's contagious. The patients didn't do anything to get this. It just happens to be that way. And that really is very sad for me. And I'm hoping the show can change people's perception of skin conditions.
I like that we're going more than skin deep. Now, some people can get weak stomachs with some of this stuff. Do you ever have that, or are you just doctor mode?
Oh no, I'm also human. No. In one of the episodes, you'll actually see me run into the bathroom throwing up because a patient grabbed her cyst and started playing with it. And my stomach couldn't take it anymore.
Erica.
Yep.
Well, it's good to know that you're human too, because sometimes I feel like maybe I'm just weak. Like I'm just super weak, you know?
Queasy.
Just like you guys. I throw up. Just like you guys, I get sick sometimes.
Oh, man.
Understandable. Well, you say you treat the problem from the inside out. So what advice can you give to viewers at home who are struggling with skin conditions right now?
I think the best thing is find a board-certified dermatologist that can help you. For a lot of skin conditions, there's actually a cure or something to give you a better life. You can have a relationship with your kids, with your families. Most of my patients just stay at home because they don't want people to laugh at them or look at them. And we're here to change that.
Wow. What's your favorite part of the job?
Oh my goodness, talking to the patients. Connecting with people, I feel like it's a gift, it's a privilege to meet my patients. When they walk through my door, I take it as a privilege. Because one thing I've learned is if I just treat the patient's skin conditions, I'm only doing half of my job. So I try to really dig deep and find out what else is going on, what else can I help with, and that's what I enjoy the most.
It's just so great to know that there are people out there who are advocating and really helping us from the inside out, but making us shine on the outside.
Coolest name ever, Dr. Mercy. Love it. Her show, Dr. Mercy, on TLC. We can't wait to check it out. We'll be right back. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you for having me.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by
The COVID-19 vaccine is widely available and provides a high level of protection against the virus's worst symptoms. But one recent study cited by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis suggests natural immunity may be more effective than only getting vaccinated.
You know, Israel did a study and they compared the protection from a previous infection versus the Pfizer protection. They found the Pfizer did provide protection, but the natural immunity was far stronger.
So let's verify. Did a study in Israel find natural immunity provides stronger protection against COVID-19 than the Pfizer vaccine? Our sources are Dr. William Schaffner, an infectious disease professor, Dr. Stuart Ray, an infectious disease expert at Johns Hopkins Hospital, and Mcconaughey Healthcare Services. DeSantis appears to be referring to research conducted by a well-regarded insurer in Israel. MHS reviewed charts of its 2.5 million members to find people who tested positive for the Delta variant. It then compared how many were previous COVID survivors and had natural immunity with how many were only vaccinated with the Pfizer vaccine. Researchers concluded natural immunity lasts longer and offers stronger protection than the Pfizer vaccine alone. While the researchers' findings are neither peer-reviewed nor published in a medical journal, it is consistent with data on other variants by different researchers.
The Israeli experience is often there early, and we can learn from it.
Doctors point out the researchers didn't factor in those who died from COVID-19 before they could get natural immunity.
So the natural immunity is a consequence of having survived COVID. But I don't think our strategy should be for people to get natural immunity, because people will die on the path to natural immunity, whereas vaccination is a safe way.
Also, DeSantis doesn't mention that that same study also found people with natural immunity and who received at least one dose of the vaccine had the most protection. So it's true that an early study in Israel did find natural immunity provides stronger protection against COVID-19 than the Pfizer vaccine. But it's also dangerous to obtain, and survivors can also benefit from getting vaccinated. With your Verify, I'm Brandon Lewis. To receive daily fast facts to your phone, text Verify to 202-410-8808. And to sign up for our newsletter, visit verifythis.com/email.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to DBL. Earlier, Jeff took my seat and my role, and Steph showed him some great discounted products from our friends at Morning Save. Check them out in our latest Deal Blast.
Jealous. All right, so what do you have for us today, Steph?
Hey guys, I've got some wonderful products and even better deals, and I can't wait to share them with all of you. So first up, we've got this Spirit Linen Ultra Soft 6-piece sheet set. So these luxurious sheets come in a variety of different sizes and colors, and this collection set is made of microfiber fabric, which will give you a very comfortable night's rest. So normally, Jeff, these range from $69 to $99, but right now we've got it for only $29, saving DBL viewers 71%. Now, Jeff, we've got Ivory by Mcconaughey 6-piece spinner travel set. So it includes this amazing suitcase, one backpack, one neck pillow, one head wrap, a pair of socks, and a luggage tag. Normally, it's as much as $169, but we've got it for only $69, which means you're saving 59%. Now, this next item is going to bring the gym to you. It's a 2-pack of Day One Fitness 13-inch foam rollers. Normally, it's as much as $48, but we've got 2 for $20, saving up to 58%. And last but certainly not least, we've got a 2-pack of Glow 10-foot sound-activated multicolor LED strip lights. This is my product of the week. It's so jazzy. So normally these are as much as $120, but we've got 2 for $20, saving up to 83%.
All right, Steph, thank you so much. Guys, you can head on over to morningsave.com to snag these amazing deals at the lowest prices. You can even visit morningsave.com on your smartphone. Thanks again, Steph.
We're at a time. We're so grateful you joined us. See you tomorrow, same time, same place.
I'm the new host of Deal Blast.
No, he's not. It's me. It's always me. It's not. It's me.